Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have a diamond in the rough. I'd like you guys to meet. This here is Jackson Findlay. He is a safety out of Western University. Nice to have you today, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure talking to the guys a bit up north there in Canada. We're looking at one of the top CFL prospects in this upcoming CFL draft, but I do know there are some NFL teams that have some interest you in as well. Looking at a guy with some good quality size, great overall experience, and a lot to offer. So, Jackson, go ahead and get started and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jackson. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, up in Canada. I play safety at Western Ontario, and yeah, have played there for 4 years. Won a national championship there, and three Ontario provincial championships. And going into my final year here, school, and entering the CFL and NFL draft.
Yeah, and a whole lot of other things happening, for you here recently, and we'll try our best to hit on each of them. I kind of want to fill in some of like the early on history of you as a player, but bro, actually, some of your history predates you even being born because your pedigree is an awesome pedigree of some solid Canadian players. Going back, actually, you would be the fourth generation of guys actually, coming into the professional scene. Talk briefly about, that pedigree.
Yeah, the Findlay family goes all the way back to my great grandfather, where he played. I think recently my dad mentioned he played at Hamilton, the Tiger Cats up there in CFL, and then my grandfather played for BC Lions. My uncle and my dad both played for Saskatchewan, and now I'm in a position to be the next up.
Definitely are going to be. And again, most people feel like you are going to be an early pick in the CFL draft. So we'll see where you end up yourself. Uh, for you, I kind of want to talk about the early years of you. So, how long have you played football?
I played football for a long time, but my main sport growing up was hockey, uh, as a lot of Canadian kids are.
Of
I was a
course.
goalie way back in the day, and eventually found football. Want to say I was around 10. Started flag football, went to tackle, and then through my high school, that's where it got really serious. And my senior year, when I kind of ran into COVID, so didn't get that, but I was lucky enough to get an opportunity to play post-secondary at Western. And yeah, I've been here for 4 years, and I loved it.
Interestingly enough, you were actually a running back for a good long while before you ended up making the transition fully as a defensive player. And then, of course, along the way there in your high school days, basketball, soccer, track and field, very active when you were able to. Of course, when the pandemic didn't really shut things down. Um, Anything else about your high school days that you want to highlight before we continue?
Um, yeah, I mean, we won the provincial championship for football in my grade 11 year. And when we were looking to go back to back there, COVID happened and my senior season was taken away. But luckily enough, I was able to, make some big steps with regards to my physical development. I was able to just train, which I haven't been able to do my whole high school career because of other sports. Um, and yeah, I went into Western, prepared physically, and super eager to get out there. So, in that sense, the COVID, it was really tough, but it did help me in the transition to the next level.
So, you're coming out of British Columbia, and you end up at Western University in Ontario. I'm imagining maybe you had perhaps a couple other opportunities. Why did you land there at Western? Aside from maybe a few other potential landing spots for you, coming out of high school.
Yeah, so initially, I actually wanted to kind of pursue an opportunity in the States. I was going to go to some camps and that stuff, but COVID kind of prevented that from happening. So then I was set on Canada. There were some opportunities around my hometown, but I knew I kind of wanted to go away, experience that living independently. So yeah, Ontario and East Coast. Um, and I decided on some Ontario schools. It's a very competitive conference. It's the biggest conference in Canada in Ontario. So I went out there, visited uh, with my dad, and there wasn't any official visits at that point for that year. So kind of just checked out the campuses, and Western was the place I ended up choosing based on the coaches, the campus, the academics, and everything else combined. It was a good mix of everything. So, and I can confidently say that it was the right place for me.
Sure. I mean, definitely. I mean, you made the most of your opportunity. I mean, obviously, on the football side of things, I mean, you're looking at really one of the more competitive schools in the Ontario conference, province, and that's pretty nice to be able to say that you guys are at the top, year in and year out. Winning the Yates Cup and all that other stuff has been nice for you guys. But you have also actually, been at Western and done very well for yourself academically. Here recently, the top academic all Canadian. We're looking at here in Jackson Findlay. So, talk about your accolades there as a student, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so my degree is in medical sciences, honor specialization in biochemistry and cancer biology. And with that, I'm hoping one day after football to pursue pediatrics, oncology, or both combined. Um, and yeah, I was recently recognized to be a top 8 academic All-Canadian, which means that there's 4 conferences in Canada. There's one male and one female nominated for each conference that best represents athletics, academics, and community involvement. So I was nominated as the male representative of Ontario, which was a huge honor. There's a lot of schools and a lot of sports, so a lot of outstanding student athletes, and that was a really
Yeah,
cool opportunity.
I'm kind of thinking that on the U.S. side of things, we have an award that's somewhat similar in the William V. Campbell Trophy, and I would imagine that this is kind of somewhat similar in its own way to that, where we are looking at a guy who is one of the top academic, athletes in the country. And so it's kind of sweet that we have an opportunity to get to know you. And as you had mentioned, pursuing the medical sciences, possibly getting into things like cancer research for children, which is an awesome thing. So you have a great opportunity that you can pursue after you're done with football. I don't know when that's going to be, but we'll see what happens. I do feel like you are going to get a huge opportunity in football here very soon. So let's look at you as one of these top prospects. What do you feel you have going for you as a prospect this season?
Yeah, I believe that some of my strengths are my measurables, my size, my speed, my versatility on the field. I can play multiple positions. As well, I'm a cerebral football player, so I can learn playbook. I've been put in a position at Western where I've had to command the defense, very audible defense. So understanding that side of the game and being able to translate that into real-time situations. So those are definitely 2 strengths of mine that I can bring to the table there. And as well, I think I can enhance a locker room. So beyond the field, I think I can provide a lot of great things there.
Yeah, one of the things that stood out when I was doing some research again was just being a quality leader, defensive captain, of course. And when we are looking at the Canadian game, we are looking at a game that is actually very pass friendly, which for guys like you makes it a very difficult job, if we're being honest, because you have several guys in motion coming straight at you, and with all of that action happening actually before the snap, you have to be ready and prepared to adjust. And that definitely takes a very special athlete in order to, break those things down very quickly, which you've been able to do there at Western. So um, I'm hoping to add that to some of what you just said there. So hopefully you can, take that as a compliment, of course. Let's look at some of your best moments there at Western. Again, as I had mentioned earlier, won the Yates Cup several times, and really out the gate, you guys putting yourself in a position to be, you know, national champion. So, talk about your overall success over your time there.
Yeah, in my first year, it was pretty unbelievable experience. We went won the Yates Cup, won the semifinal, and then went and won the national championship in Quebec City that year. It was probably the coldest I've ever been, but the winning made it worth it. So that was an amazing start to my career at Western. And the next 2 years, we had won the Yates Cup. Um, that Yates Cup in my third year there was one of the best wins in my career. We were kind of underdogs that year. We had stayed undefeated somehow, just barely squeezing those tight wins from games, and yeah, kind of brought it all together near the end of the season, which was always really nice to see. So 3 times Yates Cup, 1 time national champion is a pretty good thing to say leaving Western.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys weren't able to, put it together this year, but that isn't to say that, you guys didn't accomplish a whole lot. I mean, you guys ended up going, what, 9-2 this past year. Still a respectable outing, and, still able to, get some good quality wins there. Actually, we're looking at a team that was fairly dominant in its own way, at least. Offensively as well as defensively, you guys did a great job. Your side of the ball in particular being one of the top defenses in all of youth sports. So talk about that defense there a little bit. Let's hype up some of the guys around you on that defense. Can you talk about some of your teammates?
Yeah, absolutely. I had some outstanding teammates throughout my career, and then this past year have a few that are coming to the CFL National Combine with me. The other kind of brain in the operation is Riley McLeod, a middle linebacker, great athlete and one of the hardest workers that I've ever seen. Doesn't wear an undershirt even when it's like -20. One of those guys. So.
Crazy
Um,
guy.
yeah, leave it all on the field type of guy for sure. My halfback slash corner, Richard Dubufor. He was drafted by Saskatchewan last year, came back this year, and he's once again going back to CFL, and yeah, he's an outstanding athlete, great cover guy, and great human being. So he definitely made us better as a defense, and our offensive line or sorry, defensive line. We have some outstanding players there. Um, One of our DNs, Soren Hallschmidt, he had his best season of his career here at Western. I couldn't tell you how many years he's been here, but that's beside the point. Um, and Max von Mueldorfer, one of our D tackles, also going to the national combine. Um, just really like a rock in the center of our defense. So stuffs that run game throughout the middle there, and just a power rusher. So really versatile guy in there, and yeah, there's obviously a lot of others around me. I mean, my whole DBs, uh, they're a bunch of guys that have stepped up throughout the years, taken on these responsibilities and have exceeded expectations. Um, yeah, Jake Saunders, Jordan Murphy, um, just Kojo, great guys, great group of guys, and also happy to have played with them. And finally, kind of all connects back to our defensive coordinator, Paul Gleason. He calls our plays. He trusts the defense and puts us in the position to make plays. So throughout my career, he's really been the the consistent tool that I've been able to use to make me a better football player for sure.
Uh, Obviously, man, mentioned a whole lot of great players, coaches, a lot of people there who really, make that team run and, be effective over these past several seasons there for you guys. So, want to talk about some of your highlights. Actually, want to go back a season if we could, because in 2023, you had a just a breakout, phenomenal season. You have 7 interceptions, which is just a crazy number. Positioning yourself really very early on as a guy who we really needed to get to know as we approached our time now with you being a prospect. Can you walk through some of the I guess high points of that season, if you don't mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So that team was kind of one of unknowns. I was stepping into the free safety position for the first time in my career, um, as a starter there. So that was kind of new for me, and there was a few people filling in at different spots. But yeah, definitely ended up, later in the season gelling. There were a couple close games, one against Queens, which is our rival, and I ended up in a pretty big part of the game. I got a pick six from our own 20-yard line. And they had a brand new pavilion with everyone at the end of the end zone there. So it was nice being able to spike the ball and listening to all of them chirp down at me. That was probably one of the highlights. I'd say another one was in the Yates Cup against Laurier. The first time we played them, we had barely, beat them by a score. And yeah, this time they were kind of on the offensive. They already scored first. They were up a bit. Um, and we called a blitz. It almost got home, but the ball kind of fluttered up, and I was able to make it to the opposite sideline, get a pick and get a foot down. So that was definitely a highlight of that year as well.
Awesome. I mean, a lot of great moments last year. This year may not seem as glamorous because you didn't have as many, pick sixes. But again, it doesn't mean that you didn't have, great solid outing. As I'd mentioned, again, one of the top defenses there, in U Sports, of course. A couple of moments I kind of wanted to, for us to look back on. You had a forced fumble and fumble recovery against Carleton. Can you walk me through that moment?
Yeah, that was near the end of the game. Their kind of last ditch effort to get back in the game there. One of the guys caught a dig, started running towards the middle, and he squared up with me, and it looked like he was about to make a move. So I just went and punched the ball, came right out. So that was a pretty sweet moment.
So do you practice that like peanut punch type of tackling technique? I mean, is that kind of part of your arsenal or what?
Yeah, so I think every time I go for a tackle, first of all it's about making a tackle, but if the feet have slowed up and stuff, I'm going for that ball. So it's always going to be a battle for the ball. If they're running at the sideline, I'm punching that ball every time. So definitely gone better at it over the years, and I got a few clean ones this year.
Cool. And another matchup I wanted to kind of highlight, of course, from this past season in the playoffs against Guelph. You actually had a ton of tackles in that game, really going all over, 12 tackles in total. Talk about some of those moments throughout that game, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so that was a good game. They're a very good team, Guelph, that year, and there were a couple moments where they made plays, we made plays, so they were kind of in it a lot of the game. And right at halftime, um, we were putting a package. I come down in safety into the middle linebacker position, and they threw kind of a a drag route underneath. Um, Riley, our linebacker, swamped him up, and I came in and punched the ball out. And we got the ball right before half there, and that was when they looked like they were about to score. So that was a big moment in that game, and there were a lot of other big ones from my other teammates, and that ended up pushing us towards the eighth cup.
Awesome. And so again had a very respectable outing this past year. Had an opportunity to actually attend the College Gridiron Showcase down in Fort Worth, Texas. Can you talk briefly about your time there? Maybe perhaps some of the interviews that you were in, and even some of the one-on-one matchups, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so that started off a little bit weird. There was a winter storm in Texas for the first time
Yeah,
I've ever heard of it. So that was my first
you
experience
brought
there. Had to
the
reschedule.
northern you brought the northern weather with you.
Yeah, right. So that was a bit unexpected. So pushed the showcase back a day. But still when we got there, there were some interviews and stuff. Had a lot of um teams like CFL teams, talked to them, and then I just talked to some NFL teams, such as the Saints. I had a cool chat down there with them. And yeah, during the showcase, there was only a couple days. First one was we finished off with one-on-ones. So there's definitely some talent down there. So won a few, lost a few. But overall, had a great time. And same thing with the Skelly the next day. That was outside, it was a bit brisk, and I felt at home. So that was good.
It's kind of interesting, you say that you feel at home. I mean, there are obviously times during the latter parts of a season where it does get pretty darn cold, and so we need guys like you to go out there because you're literally in your element. You're kind of used to that sort of thing. So I don't know. I think that that's kind of nice that you have that as part of your experience, of course. So I don't know if you would call that cold, warm. I don't know what it would be called, but I think it's kind of fun. So you have a lot going on. I mean, you have uh, the CFL National Combine at the end of March, or actually, what is it? Actually, in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
And then after that, I mean, you also have a pro day here scheduled very soon with Buffalo.
yeah.
Can you talk about maybe what you're doing now and how you're preparing for these events?
Yeah, so I've been preparing, um, since the season, but realistically, I've been working with, a strength coach and a sprint coach for quite a few years now, kind of in preparation for running a 40 and that stuff. So, throughout this semester, I feel like I've been in the best shape of my life. I'm super ready to go out there, and have a good time and hopefully break all my personal best in everything that I test.
From what I've been told, and perhaps some of what you had shared with me, off camera and other settings, supposed to be testing very well. Gonna have a great vertical, gonna be able to run very well. And again, probably setting yourself up as one of the top guys being drafted in the CFL. And maybe even getting like a mini camp shot somewhere in the NFL. Again, a lot of teams going to be at that pro day, so we'll see what happens. Has all of this sunk in yet that you're going to be in the position that you're in, or what?
I think it'll sink in once I'm out there running, to be honest.
All right.
I mean, maybe after the run, but the pressure is always welcome. I love playing in high pressure games and these high pressure moments, the culmination of my football career at these combines it'll be a great time. I'm super excited.
Awesome. Want to see if there's anything else that we need to learn about Jackson Finley, though, before we wrap things up. So, anything else about you that you kind of want to, let people know? What anything going on in your life, or hobbies, interests, fun facts, or anything that we have yet to talk about? Go ahead and share a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Sure, I'll give some other fun facts. So beyond football and beyond school, I do a lot of volunteering and community work. I'm the president of our athlete student council here at Western. Been really involved in various organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club in London, and I also coach our women's flag football team as it's one of the fastest growing sports in North America. So that's super awesome to see those
Wow.
girls develop and future Olympians in LA in 2028. So that's really cool. Beyond that, I like I'm artistic. I like to paint, particularly on shoes and cleats. So I painted some for my teammates and friends there, and even coaches and their kids. So um, that's also fun. A little fun fact about me.
So what are you painting on these, cleats? Like, anything in particular that's kind of a general trend, or is it vary?
Definitely varied. So, um, I got some roommates rummaging around.
It's all good.
Yeah, so the custom shoes, I use a paintbrush and can essentially uh do whatever they want on them. So I've done like Mustang specific stuff for my own team. I've done stuff for coaches and their kids' teams and that stuff. I've done various logos like NBA, college football, NFL, all that stuff, all those different logos there. Um, Unfortunately made a pair of Green Bay shoes for one of my friends. Just kidding. I love Green Bay. Um, so yeah, can do everything on those shoes and make those designs. So um, yeah, really just the hobby. It takes a lot of time, so just do it for fun. But uh, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like something very interesting that you can, you know, do and utilize maybe for a great cause. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking that maybe you can, you know, put some cleats together and do an auction, maybe give some of that to like you know, cancer research or something, because I know that really comes home to you and what you're doing there as a student, what you want to do further down the line. I don't know, man. I'm just kind of pitching you ideas. So I mean, hopefully that'll be something that you can utilize moving forward. Um, cool. So an artistic guy who really loves giving back, man. You've done a whole lot there for your school, and again, now we're looking at you as one of the top CFL prospects, maybe getting opportunities moving forward. As we close up our time, go ahead and tell all of these teams in all these professional leagues, tell them why they need to sign you, draft you, and give you those opportunities. So, close with your final thoughts.
Yeah, so I think I have a lot of upside. I think I'm a quick learner, very cerebral player, can communicate well in the field, and that's beyond any physical stuff that I can put out there. I know I'm gonna perform well at these combines, so hopefully that turns a head or two. And then from that, I can display who I am as a person, and that will only make it more evident why I can contribute positively to these teams. Yeah, I have confidence in my abilities. I know that in Canada there is some very good football being played up here. It's evident we're getting more and more exposure. One of the QBs up here went down the Senior Bowl, so there's a lot more exposure coming up here, recognizing that Canadian players can play in these big leagues, even in the NFL. So uh, I think that if I get an opportunity, that's what I need to put myself on the field, and from there they can decide if they like me.
Well, if I'm being frank, I mean, I do feel like you have a lot of great traits that any professional team would love. I mean, again, you're looking at a guy with good quality size, great overall experience as a safety, has really been a solid leader, of course. We talked about those things. And again, in a weird sort of sense, your time as a Canadian player, I feel might even help you, in US's game, because of the way you have to adjust very quickly and make quick and precise decisions, man. Because like you need to be on your toes, uh, ready to diagnose things. And as we talked about earlier, you making a good quality tackle, punching that ball out, and getting turnovers, which I know is a huge part of what you're able to do at the next level. So, Jackson, been fun. Want to wish you all the best. Okay,
Thank you very much.
sure thing. Once again, I got Jackson Findlay, safety out of Western University. Check him out.